Hello YouTube, this is the Bucket coming at you today with my Colt Huntsman that I picked up at the gun show a few weeks back. And I want to talk to you a little bit about these cool old 22 pistols, why I picked one up, what makes these special, give you a little bit of the history of these guns as well, and talk about my shooting impressions with them. So these guns were designed by John Moses Browning, and they were made by Colt from 1915 to 1977. They were made in 3 series of pistols. The first ones ran from 1915 to 1941. They looked very similar to this. In 1947 and 1955, they had some changes that they made. One of the major changes, they went from a heel release to a frame release, and that's when they came out with the Challenger pistol, which was a more budget-friendly option that would become the Huntsman in the 3rd series. The 1955 to 1977 produced pistols were the 3rd variant, and they moved the magazine release back down to a heel release, and the name of the budget-friendly option gun, the Challenger, became the Huntsman. So the Challenger and Huntsman, again, are the budget-friendly option. They don't have a taper barrel, they don't have an adjustable rear sight, and they don't have a last round hold open. Those things may be a big deal to you, so those are some things that you want to think about when you go to the gun show and look for a Woodsman or a Huntsman. I'll tell you why I selected a Huntsman and when I talk about my shooting impressions of these guns. So I love the fact that, of course, you're going to get that high-quality Colt quality of manufacturing. I love the roll marks, the big Rampart Colt on the chamber. I love the fact that it says Colt Automatic Caliber 22 Long Rifle. And on the other side, you're going to have the serial number. You're going to find that these Colts are really cool, and the Colt serial number lookup on their website is awesome to be able to find out information about your gun. But I'll tell you, there are a couple overruns with these. So mine, if you put the serial number in there, it'll say it was a Woodsman from 1945, and obviously it's a Huntsman. And then I did a little research, and it's not that hard to find online, but you want to make sure that you do a little bit of research to make sure that you know the information from your gun. So again, this is going to be all steel construction. The heel release is easy to operate. The magazines are 10 rounds. They will say Colt on the bottom of the magazine. So when you're purchasing one of these used, make sure that you have a original magazine. It's got a really big front sight, and the rear sight has a big rear notch. Makes it very easy to pick up on. But I'll tell you, there is no contrast, which wasn't a problem for me in shooting. I'll talk about that when we get into the shooting a little bit more. So as far as reliability of this pistol, the gun ran very, very well for me. The only problem I had, and it was right at the beginning, is when I put in the magazine, if I didn't whack it or just make sure that I thought about engaging the magazine, I had it one time where it kind of went to here, and obviously I wasn't going to get the gun to feed the ammo reliably. That is the only malfunction that I had, and obviously that was a me thing, not a gun thing. I picked this gun up, and you'll see that there is an aggressive angle on the grip angle of it, but it made it still a very natural pointer. Felt great in the hands. I never had any problem with slide bite. And like I said, those sights were very easy to pick up on. And after a few shots, I realized where I needed to aim, and I didn't have any need to adjust the sights. So when you're thinking about, do I need a Woodsman or do I need a Huntsman? For me, I almost never adjust the rear sights. I can naturally point, and most guns hit point of aim, point of impact. So if you know you're the type of person that's never going to use the adjustable rear sight, you may think to yourself, well, if I can save a little money going with a Huntsman for a feature I'm not really going to use, that may be something that you want to look into. As far as the last round hold open, obviously I would love to have that feature, but it wasn't that big of a deal for me to not have it. And the taper barrel, I know some people really enjoy that. It's not something that I feel like I need at all. As far as accuracy, like I said, it ran very reliably. The first 10 rounds Tanfolio shot, he shot that grouping, which was really good. It was only 10 yards because we were at an indoor range, but there was a lot of accuracy there. Me, for my first 10 rounds, I shot here. Maybe not quite as good as the Tanfolio, but it took me a little bit extra to get used to it. His last 5 rounds were, oh, look at this, I've got so many targets, were these 5 rounds, which were really good. And then for me, I ended up shooting like that. Had one little flyer there. That was me. That wasn't the gun. As far as consistency, this is about 30, maybe 40 rounds at 10 yards, and I was hitting a 2.5-inch circle. The Tanfoglio has a Mark Ruger. I think that both of these shoot just about as accurately and reliably. I probably would go more with the Huntsman because I like cool, I like old, I like blue. And actually, even Tanfoglio said that there were things about this gun that he liked a little bit better than his gun. As far as recommendations, I think if you prefer Rugers, a Ruger is an amazing gun that you're going to really like. If you prefer Colts, you're going to really like this. And, you know, as far as costs, I think as a general rule, the Colt Woodsman and Huntsman are going to be a little bit more expensive than a Ruger. I think the parts availability, the Colts aren't going to be impossible to find parts for. They're still new enough, and they were so successful that you're going to find parts if you need them. As far as disassembly and maintenance, this is probably the biggest thing that's going to be a difficulty with this pistol. It can be disassembled, but you are going to need to have somebody show you how to do it, maybe one of your gunsmiths local in town. The way that you disassemble and reassemble actually disassembly isn't such a problem, but reassembly to get it all engaged and back where it needs to just isn't easy to pick up how to do that online. So that might be something that you want to think about. If you're kind of mechanically inclined, I don't think it's a deal breaker. I think you could probably figure it out. If you know you're not very mechanically inclined, the M&P Compact 22 may be the best option. It's going to be the most easy to disassemble, reassemble, and maintain. It's going to be inexpensive, and it's going to be extremely reliable. I've owned a couple of M&P Compact 22s and have never had any problems with reliability with those or accuracy. So that's a really good option. But if you really are dead set on getting something cool, this is an awesome option. And, you know, like for me, this had a little whammy on it, a couple little blemishes on it. I only paid $500 for this at the gun show, and I think I've got a whole bunch of cool for this $500. So something to keep an eye out if you really enjoy hunting at the gun shows. Keep an eye out for the Colt Woodsman, the Colt Huntsman. Maybe it'll have some information so you know a little bit and can be a good buyer when you're at the gun show. So thank you so much for supporting the channel. All the likes, the comments, the shares are really appreciated. And as always, you stay classy, YouTube.
I learned a lesson. Never half-ass two things. Whole-ass one thing.